I did not tell my parents for the longest. In India, we are so used to stopping and asking somebody to tell us where to go, right? And when I landed at the uni, them giving me maps,
Figure
asking
it
me
out.
to, your classroom XYZ, I had this fear of not wanting to leave the professional world for way too long. I had self-doubt. But then, the excitement sort of overtakes the fear. Put your life literally in 2 suitcases, close your bank account, and first month in the UK was difficult.
Hi, welcome to the first episode of Beyond Borders, an SIUK talk show. For the first episode, we have a very special guest with us, Ms Lakshmi Iyer, our managing director.
Hi, everybody.
Not only is she an industry expert, but she has studied abroad herself. So we thought, who better than her to share first-hand experience on study abroad journey? Welcome, Lakshmi. How are you doing today?
Really well. And I'm looking forward to kind of, having a nice chat with you on this, because I know that this is the peak time for many students who are leaving the country, but also the time when parents and students start really thinking about the options that are there for studying overseas.
Right. So let's start by asking you about your academic background. Like, what university did you go to, and what were the subjects that you choose for your undergrad and postgrad?
Okay, so I did my first degree in psychology, graduated from Kerala University.
Okay.
And then I did my first master's from Cochin University in business administration. Then I worked for 2.5 years and then wanted to go back to studying and decided to pursue another master's in international marketing. And I chose the UK as my study destination and went to University of Strathclyde.
That's interesting. Can you tell us how your study abroad journey began and why did you choose to study abroad?
So I was working as a brand manager for Financial Express newspaper in Bombay.
Wow.
And 2 years, almost 1.5 years into the job, I felt that I wasn't enjoying it as much as I thought I would, and wanted to get back into studying.
Yeah.
And when I started researching, I figured that masters in the UK are 1 year in duration. And I didn't want to also, I had this fear of not wanting to leave the professional world for way too long, and decided that, between the United States and the UK, at that point in time, only these two countries sort of, anybody considered. US would have taken me a far longer time, in the sense that, I needed to clear a GRE or a GMAT. And I just didn't have the time to prepare, primarily because I was really busy at work.
Yeah.
So decided that I would research UK universities and would start applying to those, because most of them only required me to have an English language qualification that I could showcase that I was proficient in the language. So I decided that UK was going to be the option.
So it fit with your professional goals and your personal time.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. So I feel like the initial phases of planning are kind of intimidating. How did you navigate through that process?
So you must understand that a lot of this planning took place at a time when internet was as rampant as it is today.
Right.
So I spent a lot of time at the British Council Library in Bombay, because Education UK had a section at the library where you could kind of go through all the prospectuses, the physical prospectuses. I still have a big love for physical prospectuses of universities.
Yeah,
so I used to sit and kind of, review those and, figure out which institutions I wanted to apply to, and then spend a lot of time preparing my application. And the staff at the British Council were very helpful, and they would give me advice about the location, about which university was good for what, and so on. So I got a lot of help from professionals, people who had studied in the UK, and also seasoned staff of the British Council who were very kind.
Yeah. So planning which university to go to is one thing, and then telling your parents about your decision is one thing. How did you go about that? What was their reaction?
So I did not tell my parents for the longest period of time that I was thinking of leaving my job and going back into
Studying.
academics. And I was also quite determined that I am not going to kind of take an education loan or ask my parents to spend their savings. So I had set myself almost like an obstacle course, so to speak, because I needed to have a scholarship. I needed to kind of find the university. And I was living in another city far away from my parents. So most of the decisions I just sort of took myself. And luckily for me, I think, the universe also conspired many ways. I got a lot of help from people around me who also supported that process. You do need allies.
Yeah, of course.
Something like this, right? Because it is a big decision.
So was it like a task to convince your parents?
No, not at all. Because I think, so my mother is an academic. My father did his PhD in biochemistry. So, I come from a household where education was the be all and end all, and continues to be the be all and end all of everything. So there wasn't that element, but then of course, leaving India is a big thing, and especially for a girl.
Yeah, of course.
So I took that decision when almost 24 years ago, right, when I went to the UK, and at that time, it wasn't as common as it is now that people would just up and leave for vacation and that and this and studying. Now it is fairly common and very prevalent.
So you told us that you had allies and friends who were supporting you, but like your close group, were they like surprised or sad to see you go? What was their reaction when you told your friends?
There was a bit of surprise, but then there was also the acceptance that this would be the path that I would take, because everybody knew that I enjoyed studying and I really wanted to kind of study more. Perhaps they might have thought that I would have probably picked an institution in the United States, but I sort of went off to kind of look at the UK as a study destination. That was probably a bit of a surprise. Friends.
So getting into academics and then going abroad for academics is like a very big life decision. So did it come with like fears and doubts? Were you scared? Like, how will you manage on your own?
Yes, there is always the worry
Yeah.
whether you have done the right thing. Okay, because especially for someone like me, I had worked by then for more than 2 years in the corporate world. I was used to having my own income and not being answerable to anybody how I spent that money.
I know how that feels.
And then, deciding to chuck all that up and then pack your bags and put your life literally in 2 suitcases, close your bank account. You didn't know what the future held for you. But then, the excitement sort of overtakes the fear.
Yeah.
Really.
Adrenaline.
Yeah. And I had probably, that was the first big trip outside of India as an adult for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first time I had ever traveled overseas was when I was 9 years old. And after that, I had not been anywhere. And there I was as an adult, packing my bags and, with a passport which did not have anything other than my UK student visa stamp, leaving India.
Yeah. So did the culture differences bother you when you arrived in the UK?
Yes, and first month in the UK was difficult. I had self-doubt. I was like, what have I done? Have I done the right thing in doing this? What came over me? Because I was far away from home. I missed my brother a lot. I missed India a lot. And I was in completely unfamiliar terrain. Right?
Yeah.
Language. Yes, we all speak English, but getting used to an accent, and that too a Glaswegian accent at times, can be super daunting. You walk into the post office and you're trying to say something and they have said something and you haven't understood it.
Can you please repeat? Can you please repeat?
That is one. Number two, you find yourself in a classroom with 40 odd individuals, obviously a handful we had, I think 6 or 7 of us from India, rest all from 30 odd countries. New ways of kind of, being taught, and also being asked to produce your assignments. And last but not the least, and this will make you laugh, but I have to say it, in India, we are so used to stopping and asking somebody to tell us where to go, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm lost, and can you tell me, can you show me the route?
Yeah.
And when I landed at the uni, I remember walking into the student union and them giving me maps, right?
Yeah.
And asking
Figure it
me
out.
to, your classroom XYZ, you have to kind of literally navigate using this map. And I had never done that in my life, and it just still, is a memory that I have of trying to figure out where to go, what to do. And that 1 month was super, super difficult. But, us human beings, we are resilient. And you have to just get through those days.
Yeah.
And after that, you start taking to it like fish to water. First 30 days, self-doubt. After that, I really enjoyed. I still think of my 1 year in Glasgow as a student as the best year of life.
Wow, that's amazing. And also a takeaway from this is that you get navigating maps as like a complementary learning when you go to study
True.
abroad.
Very much so, because you pick up life skills.
Yeah,
Right?
of course.
Because studying abroad is one thing, but you are away from home.
Yeah.
You have to learn to dig into reservoirs of strength within yourself to cope with loneliness, to integrate into a society that you have never, you probably
Right.
would have visited, many of you would visit, but then you don't have to live in that environment for longer than say 2 or 3 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
But here you have to adapt.
Yeah.
You have to kind of figure out, structure your day so that you have enough time to do your assignments, not just individual assignments, group assignments, learn to work with people, that you might not really kind of be friends with, but, you have to produce an assignment together. So there is that survival instinct.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to learn to work with this individual so that I can put that assignment through.
Yeah.
And last but not the least, I would say that studying abroad is not just about the studying. It's about all of the other things
Yeah.
that come along with it.
Yeah.
Exploration, discovering more about yourself as an individual, and adaptation.
So what, like, you have been through the whole experience, and what would be like the topmost advice that you would give to students who want to go to study abroad?
I think you should do sufficient independent research to figure out, firstly, the destination that you want to choose. You need to be very clear about the motivation.
Yeah. Your
as
why.
to why
Yeah.
you want to do that. Yeah, why you want to go overseas and spend all that money and
Yeah.
stuff. What do you want to get out of it, right? And preparing yourself well in advance and making sure that you get into that application process, giving yourself a runway of 10 to 12 months is very important.
Guys, these are golden nuggets. Write them now.
The more time you give yourself, the better will be your decision making. Right?
Yeah.
Many universities have got scholarships, but if you are a last minute kind of applicant, you miss out on all of that. And getting good advice.
Yeah.
Yes, you have internet there. You can kind of probably do a lot of research on your own, but knowing people who have done that before, so that you can understand their experiences, and also seeking advice from people who have probably advised a lot of students before you, and who might be able to connect you to individuals who have done the kind of program that you are looking to be doing.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, every student has a different requirement.
And also, these are huge decisions. They have a lifelong impact.
Exactly.
On your career, on your growth path, the trajectories that your life will take. All of these will be impacted by this one key decision.
Exactly.
So you spend ample amount of time speaking to the right people, peers, and also advisors. And get yourself, fit to make your application well in time.
Thank you so much for your time
Very welcome.
today.
Thank you for having me.
So that was a wrap on our episode 1. I hope you benefited from this. I'll see you in my next episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.